Hey everyone. My name is Marco, and this week in our discussion, we are talking about relational databases versus non-relational databases. Relational databases meaning SQL type databases or MySQL or MS SQL, and versus non-databases such as MongoDB. And so this week we're talking about whether the relational database will eventually become extinct or not, and whether we're for a relational database or a non-relational database looking towards the future. Out of the articles that we read, um, relational databases are dominating the market because it's been out for so long. People are using it for multiple platforms, multiple programs. I have experience with many different SQL databases too, in a huge environment, working with the city itself. Um, but other developers, companies still continue to use SQL relational databases. Now, looking towards the future, um, non-relational databases such as Mongo database, I do personally believe that that is the future. That is something that we're going to go to. They've only been out for about roughly a little over 10 years compared to the other types of relational databases. They've been out like Microsoft Access, the most basic one. That's been out for decades. And I think Mongo, the DB, and a lot of related databases that are non-relational are going to dominate this market. They just need to also prove itself a little bit more in terms of how it integrates with. I mean, Mongo database checks all the boxes. It is organized. It is much easier to deal with as far as the database goes. It is scalable, so if we ever want to grow it or create something that's or a company that's going to be growing within the next 5 to 10 years, Mongo database is able to do all of that from our articles. And so I think people are, in my opinion, afraid of change. I know for myself, I've dealt with many relational databases and many projects where it includes different types of migration levels from different softwares. Usually, they're different relational databases, from SQL to SQL, or IBM has their DB2 database, which is similar to it. It's not exactly a SQL database like Microsoft SQL, but it's something similar to that. But I know I've had a lot of issues in the past where not a lot of data is one to one. So, which is very, very difficult because customers expect their data. That's their most important thing. And so when something happens with their data where it's not exactly in the right field as it was in their old system to their new system, people will complain about it. And I get their frustration too. In those type of circumstances, software companies develop what they call um, I don't want to say old data, but there's a specific term. I can't remember what it was called, and I've dealt with this too, where basically there's not a specific field because the way the platform was built doesn't require that field. And so what they'll do is they'll just create like an open text box where that's where they'll dump all that information from. But anyways, in terms of my preference, I personally believe non-relational databases are going to be taking over the market within the next decade. It is something to consider. I'm definitely going to be considering it myself and using it a little bit more on my current work environment. Um, but what do you all think? It meets and checks all the boxes as far as scalability, availability, performance, organization. So I feel, and then of course, just like any type of disaster recovery, you'll be able to back that up into multiple entities. And I believe a lot of cloud platforms are using this, such as Amazon Web Services. And the fact that you could choose different cloud services to provide that database is showing that this is something that's going to be even expanded on in the future. So, what do you all think? Let me know.